dog. Let's go. Let's go. Hey, champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Shotgun snap, fades the handoff, rolls it with the tail pass. Up goes to the 5 to the tight end on the near side by Williams. Touchdown! He got in! The Chiefs have taken the lead in Super Bowl 54! Second down and 7. Mahomes, Watkins, Watkins, Sammy, very good offensive line. They got out 3. A big hole. Edwards-Helaire will take it to the end zone.
How are we doing, guys? Welcome to the new and improved KC Tailgater Show. I'm Jordan Anderson. With me, as always, my right-hand man, who is now on the right, Marcus Baker. Marcus, how are we feeling about the switch to YouTube?
It's definitely different. It's kind of weird looking at your own face while you speak, to be honest, but I don't know. I'm excited. It's kind of cool to get to show a little bit of our Chiefs stuff off in the background and just feel like we're talking face to face. So that's a good addition, and it'll be more entertaining, I think, to the viewers than just sitting there listening to a podcast. So
Right.
Honestly, that's the big thing with it. Is what I'm excited for.
I'm just hoping it can, broaden our viewer experience and, they actually see the face behind who's talking. So, anyway, let's go ahead and get on with the show. We're going to talk about the Kansas City-Carolina matchup, do our game ball delivery as always. They're going to talk about what the team should focus on in preparation for their Week 11 game against the Las Vegas Raiders. Payback time, hopefully. So, Marcus, let's go ahead and get started here. Observations from the Carolina game. Carolina was pretty damn tough. I'm not going to lie. I called this with our Arrowhead Live guys before we even started that this was going to be a trap game. And if our defense wasn't playing their A game, then we were going to lose. And luckily they came in clutch there at the very, very end. The last second was the best play they'd had all day. They were that bad all day, in my opinion. But what are some of the issues there?
I don't know. Honestly, it's an odd situation because to us it felt like the defensive performance was unacceptable. But I mean, honestly, you take it with a grain of salt. You turn the clock back to 2018. We would have taken a defensive performance like that because we won. And the problem is, though, when the defense plays like that, the offense can only really make one or two mistakes the whole game. And if they do, we're in jeopardy of losing, like we were in this. I mean, this game easily, if 2 or 3 things fall the opposite direction, this is a blowout. It's not even close. The Chiefs win this game by 2 possessions if a couple plays are made defensively. And it was just like, really, I think what stands out as glaring to us is like the Teddy Bridge. With Bridgewater, though, the 4th and 14 where he ran it up the middle, that was the angriest I got from start to finish, I think.
Are you talking about that fourth and like 14 call?
Yeah, when he ran it right up the middle. And then it's 4th again with the game pretty much in hand, and Spags blitzes 7 or 8 guys. And what made me most angry throughout the whole game was every time we blitzed more than 5 guys, we got beat in the secondary, and they had a conversion. And he did it all the time on 3rd. And every time he did it, they converted. If he didn't do it, we got to stop. But if he did it, they converted every time.
Still, and it's been a while since we've had a KC Tailgaters episode. Ben Neiman's still on the field since our last episode. He should not be on the field ever. Willie Gay got 15 snaps against the Panthers. When he was in, he made the first 2 great defensive plays we had. Unfortunately, they were wiped due to penalty. But still, get the man on the field. It's that simple. He is 10 times the athlete that Ben Neiman is. You have to play him. He can cover. He obviously can stop the run because stopping Christian McCaffrey, as we know, is not an easy feat.
Yeah,
Willie Gay made 2 solid plays.
In open field on the most dominant short yardage back in the league. I mean, you're talking about a guy out in space. Stopping him's unheard of. And Willie made contact, wrapped up, and finished the tackle. He was, and we'll talk about it later, he was from start to finish the only defensive player I was happy about the whole game. And they gave the man 15 plays. While Ben Neiman's on the field, and yes, he made a couple tackles here and there, but yet again, glaring mistakes. And the problem I have is they put Neiman in to be the extra blitzer a lot, and he never gets there. It's a waste. And that's what happened repetitively defensively, is it was a waste. We blitz 7 guys. We don't get home, or we're right there, but they run slants or curls and just dump the ball off, or they kick it out to the check down to the back, and they're stumbling for 7 to 10 yards on 3rd and 5.
He can't cover. He can't tackle. He lost out there.
One thing that was
one second. They give him the mic in the helmet to call the plays. Why do you give a dumbass like that the mic when he doesn't even know where he's supposed to be?
And that's what I'm saying. I think the coaching staff loves the guy because in the film room, he may be the most intelligent player we have on defense. But I'm sorry, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He may know where he's supposed to be, but he can't ever get there. He can't.
You just put the word intelligence with Ben Neiman. Those two don't belong at all.
The only reason I did that, there has to be something with him that they like. Because it can't be physical. It can't be eye test. So it has to be mental. Because it doesn't make sense. He doesn't have the athleticism. He clearly doesn't make the plays on the football field. So something has to go on behind the scenes to where they like him more than Willie.
It's like they don't watch the end zone camera after games like we do.
Right.
Like we watch the all 22s. He's lost. He's always in the wrong gap. He does not wrap up to save his life. Cannot commit to a tackle. Cannot pursue. Doesn't have good pursuit angles. Can't cover, obviously. He gives up first down after first down. Why is he still on the field?
And it'd be different if it was like last year and we didn't really have an improvement. I still think we did. I think Daniel's better than him. But they didn't believe that last year. And then you get a guy in here with Willie's athleticism. And I get it. Daniel, he's mainly athleticism. But he shows physicality pretty much as at a higher level than any linebacker on the team, except maybe Damian Wilson. Damian Wilson hits hard, but Willie hits harder than...
You spent a second-round pick on a linebacker who's crazy athletic, and you don't play him. You play him 15 snaps.
Right. It's a waste. It deteriorates the value of the pick. It doesn't utilize a player that makes a difference. And like you said, 15 snaps. And I mean, I'm foreshadowing what's to come, but Willie Gay's my defensive game ball. He has to be. Because nobody else on the defense was worth handing the game ball to. We won the football game, but it had nothing to do with the defensive side of the football. If not for the game that Patrick Mahomes put together, and it wasn't perfect, he struggled at times, but the stats were there, and we made an impact in the pass game. None of it was defensive. The only flashes defensively we saw from start to finish were those 5 plays or so where Willie made an impact on tape, and the other 10, he was at least providing something positive. I mean, that's what I was watching the game with my parents, who's usually who I watch the game with, and Mom asked me, because of course they don't understand it like on the level that you and I do.
Right.
She's like, why is that guy gesturing towards his ear? I said, Mom, he's getting the play calls. She said, Neiman? So, I mean, when a run-of-the-mill basic Chiefs fan, I mean, not to slight my parents, they just don't understand the intricate stuff in the same way.
I'm telling.
But, yeah, even people that don't understand the intricacies of the game can tell that Ben Neiman's not competent enough to be calling plays, let alone trying to lead a defense when he can't even make plays himself. I don't understand it. And it may not last all season. They may still be waiting on Willie to come along mentally to align the defensive line and align the linebackers. And he may not be there yet mentally. But you got to put people out there to make plays, especially the way that we looked Sunday defensively. We weren't giving up chunk plays like they did against the Raiders, but it still wasn't acceptable. I mean, the pass rush was a little better than it had been. They generated some pressures and some sacks, but
The Panthers succeeded at what they do. What the Panthers do, they succeeded at, which is their short game, their little dink and dunks, their off tackle left, off tackle right. You know, their jet sweeps with Curtis Samuel. He tore us up. Curtis Samuel did.
And the problem is we gave it to him. The way Spags was being aggressive, he was being aggressive dumb. Like, I'm all for aggression. I mean, no doubt. We saw Bob Sutton for years. I'll take any aggression defensively I can get. But when you're doing it in situations where it's unnecessary and it's proven to fail, you're failing as a coach. And I honestly think we win that game by two possessions, if not for Spags. I think it was one of the worst games that he's had as a coordinator. Because like with the Raiders game, they were just beating us. That's all it was. They were outplaying us. Oakland was, or Las Vegas, excuse me, offensively versus our defense. Carolina wasn't outplaying us. We were just giving them opportunities from what we were doing defensively. And it's like the Teddy Bridgewater thing. I understand you're focused on coverage because it's a 15-yard conversion, but you can't let a guy that's had a fully reconstructed knee run for 15 yards on you at quarterback.
And when he dives like that, you don't punish him.
Right, yeah, they hit him, but they just kind of tapped him. And like I'm not Mike Florio or nothing. Don't kill anybody, but in the same breath, if a quarterback's going to dive face
Mike
first,
Florio or Greg Williams, which pick your poison.
Yeah. Steve Spagnuolo was calling a game like Greg Williams last week. I'm telling you. Oh, that's another person I don't understand. I like Spags. I really do. He's one of my favorite coordinators. He's done well enough over the last 2 years. If he does it a year or two more, he may get a shot again as a head coach. And I think he deserves it because he seems like he's good with the players. But there's got to be something there with Willie and Ben Neiman that we don't see. Because everything we see, it's Willie Gay Jr. all day. And I know a lot of people probably get tired of hearing it nonstop because it's like a broken record with us, but it's the truth. And we're not going to sit here and lead our fan base and the Chiefs Kingdom astray when we see guys like this that don't have a right to be on an NFL football field, especially on a Super Bowl champion. And there's a guy on the bench that can totally be better, and we're just not using him. It's so frustrating.
I have one solution in mind. Willie Gay got in trouble in college for punching his quarterback. Don't make it the quarterback. Make it number 56. That's the only solution I can think of.
Right, let's knock him out of Derek Johnson's jersey one time, please.
Man, I just don't get it.
And honestly, I feel bad because it's not Ben Neiman's fault. It
is his fault. It is 110% his fault.
I honestly think he knows what he's doing. I do. I think he's so unathletic compared to the other guys in this league that he can't make the play. I think he knows what he's supposed to do, and he just can't do it.
On Madden, maybe.
You're right, though. He does look lost a lot, and that's hard to defend. That's the hard part with the whole Ben Neiman situation. He looks lost. And I sit here and try to make excuses for him because, I mean, I don't think he's a bad guy. I just don't think he's athletic. I don't think his athleticism's on par with a modern-day NFL linebacker. And the team puts him in a position to fail. I mean, you're putting a guy in a leadership role that can't even make plays on his own. You can't expect him to step up and in crunch time because he's on the field a lot on third down because of his coverage ability or lack thereof, in my opinion. But, yeah. I mean,
it's not just your opinion.
It's not even an opinion. It's a fact. Like, the numbers are there. He's one of the worst linebackers in the league, statistically.
He's the worst in the league.
Yeah. And when you have a guy, even if he's not ready mentally, throw Willie out there. But that's the problem, putting a guy out there like Ben, when you've got somebody like Willie that you can get the value out of. If he fails, he fails. But you can hang your hat if you're Steve Spagnuolo on the fact that you put the guy that has the second round value on a football field. You're getting return from your investment. Ben Neiman, I think, is an undrafted free agent, rightfully so. You can see why he wasn't drafted. I wish he would have never been signed to our team. That's my opinion. But hopefully, as the season but that's the thing. You're getting return on your investment with Willie, and you're not with Ben, because there's nothing really invested in Ben Neiman. He's undrafted free agent. So put the guy that you've put assets into on the football field. Let him make plays. If he makes a couple mistakes, let your veterans on the back end help him cover it. But I mean, Ben Neiman's making a mistake every time he's called upon, in my opinion, from what we see on tape. So, what is there to lose? Really, nothing.
We'll get off the Ben Neiman hype train, as we like to call it. It's not really. It's kind of the opposite of hype. Degrading session. That's what we'll call it. But let's get on with our game ball deliveries. You said yours defensively was Willie Gay, just because of his impact. I'm going Frank Clark. And the reason I'm going Frank Clark is because he came up clutch in a very clutch time. And if not for the Chiefs' defensive line getting hit. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I do not have Frank Clark down here. I have Tershawn Wharton, who consistently got pressure all game long. Missouri Science and Tech School tore it up, and he's been tearing it up for weeks now. I think this is starting to look like an absolute steal on Brett Veach's part. He's played great consistently for about 4 or 5 weeks now. But, if not for Wharton, it would have been Frank Clark. But Wharton got his sack also, but, they both played great. I'm worried about Tyrann Mathieu a little bit. This kind of the second game he showed us that I don't know if he's all into it or what. I mean, he got toasted by McCaffrey on a little wheel outside, which it's 3rd and goal. There's one guy in the field you need to watch for, and that's Christian McCaffrey. And they just didn't do it. I saw what they tried to do with their defensive scheme. They tried to hide Sorensen and have Tyrann Mathieu kind of chase him out. But Christian McCaffrey's too fast. You're not going to keep up for him there. But I don't want to get on to the defensive struggles again because we just got done talking about that. But, Marcus, give me your offensive game ball.
I think it has to go to Patrick Mahomes. I mean, he's put himself into the MVP race. I think he should be considered the favorite now after what we've seen from Russell Wilson the last couple of weeks. But, I mean, the stats are there. The play's there. He made plays when it had to happen. And we got out of that, what I considered a trap game from the beginning. We got out of it with a win. So that's honestly what matters, and I don't think we do that without number 15. So I think he's going to have to get the offensive game ball for me. It was just a sloppy, clunky game for me, even offensively. We put up 33 points, but it wasn't a comfortable 33 for me. I mean, they scored, and it could just have been the way the defense played. I was never comfortable throughout the game. From kickoff to that 67-yard field goal miss, I was uncomfortable the whole time because this game really did remind me of Tennessee from previous year.
Yep.
And it was just a team that was teetering right on the edge of being really good, very well coached, solid running game, and a quarterback that didn't turn the ball over and made plays. And Tennessee was the same way last year. And my hat's off to Matt Rule. I think he's going to be a hell of a coach in this league. Just what he's been able to do so far, they've overachieved tremendously. Bridgewater seems to be a steal for what they – I mean, they paid him a lot, don't get me wrong, but
right.
It's a good fit. I guess I shouldn't say steal, but a good fit. Robbie Anderson, that's a great signing for them. I mean, that staff and that front office, that ownership group there in Carolina, they're building something. I think in 2 or 3 years, if they can keep what they have in the fold, they could be a team that may be competing. But I'm happy to get out of it with a win, honestly, because it could have went the other way for sure.
It's going to be a weird way to say this, but I'm happy we got the win, but I'm not happy with how we got the win, if that makes sense. If there's one bright spot, I do want to say is Carolina pulled out everything to try and beat us. The fake punt, the onside kick, the second onside kick, the going forward on 4th and 14, which they converted. But that's just credit to Chiefs.
Thanks, Ben.
No kidding. It's the credit to the Chiefs there, though, that even though they pulled out all that stuff to try and beat us, they still didn't get it done. The Chiefs pulled out in the end. But my offensive game ball is going to Travis Kelce, who set a career high in receiving yards, passing his Oakland game from a few years back. But I feel like he really got things going for us offensively. If not for our offensive line struggles, I think Edwards-Helaire would have went off, to be honest. He only got 6 carries, though, which that really surprised me. I get their pass game is weak, and we definitely took advantage of that. But Travis Kelce had the game of his life. McCole Hardman had a couple drops. Tyreek Hill had a drop as well, which they need to get that figured out. But Travis Kelce really got it started. And, once he got started, it kind of kept going. So my game ball offensively goes to Travis Kelce. It's the bye week. Unfortunately, we hate this week because, we don't get to see the Chiefs win and possibly go to 9-1. But we have the Raiders coming up. And you got to think this is an absolute revenge game. It's going to be in Vegas. It's going to be on a Sunday night, prime time. I fully expect the Chiefs to dominate because if you listen to them talk in their press conferences, they still remember that game in Arrowhead. The victory lap around the stadium, which is the classiest thing I've ever heard or ever seen, but it's just petty, in my opinion. It's the first time they beat us in a long time. So the Chiefs are going to remember that. So I am looking forward to this 20-point minimum win. I'm calling it right now. We win by a minimum of 20.
Yeah, I agree. Whatever the Raiders saw on tape against our defense, I think Spags is going to figure out what the tell was that was giving away our coverages because they were beating us like they knew what we were doing defensively pre-snap. And I expect Coach Reed even to get involved with that with Steve and figure out what happened because, we're better than the Pittsburgh Steelers, in my opinion. No doubt. I think Pittsburgh is very limited. I don't think they'll play well against a team like us. That defense is limited.
They've had a cake schedule. They've played the hurt Cleveland Browns. They've played Cincinnati. They played Baltimore. It's the only decent team they played. And Baltimore's not even as good as they were last year, in my opinion.
No. And Baltimore should have won that second game.
They've played the Giants.
Yeah.
They played the Eagles, who are already bad, but they were hurt also. So, it's a cakewalk schedule so far.
And I think it's a facade over theirs in terms of their even their fan base. They struggled last year tremendously for their standards. It's one of the best organizations in the game, but they struggled. But you look at a team like that, if we fix this Las Vegas game, there's no question we're the best team. Most people still say it because they know what we have in Kansas City, but you win that game in Kansas City against the Raiders, and there's no question you're the best team in football.
You know what's funny is what I saw today. We have one loss in 365 days.
Yep.
One loss in one calendar year.
And I think it came from the circumstances of underestimating a familiar opponent and not thinking Derek Carr was capable of what he was doing.
Yep.
I honestly think Derek Carr can do what they did. I do. You look back to what year was it that they were good with Crabtree and Cooper?
16? Been a while.
Yeah. I think it was 2016. And Carr, he played well, but he had weapons. This is probably the best weapons he's had since that 2016 season. You've got Henry Ruggs, Nelson Aguilar, Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller. They have pieces that they haven't had in a long time. So that's not a team you can take lightly, and I think the Chiefs took them lightly. And like I said, I think the Raiders had a beat on what the Chiefs were doing defensively. I don't expect that to happen again the second time around. And I expect the team to play pissed off. I know the fan base is. When I seen that they were doing victory laps around the Arrowhead, my blood boiled.
It's ridiculous.
You beat us one time in a decade, it feels like. Two, probably, technically. But you needed 4 untimed downs in 2016 to do it. And you needed probably the worst game the Chiefs have played in 3 years defensively. I don't see our defense playing like that again. There's going to be a chip on these guys' shoulders. And that's one thing we can say Frank Clark doesn't show up sometimes because he doesn't. Chris Jones takes plays off sometimes. Tyrann Mathieu can make mental errors. But one thing I don't question is those 3 guys is edge. I don't question their fight and desire to prove that they're the best, especially Clark and Mathieu.
Right.
They're going to take that personal, and it's going to come out on the field in week 11. And if I was Derek Carr, I wouldn't sleep very good Saturday night because I think that pass rush is going to be coming for him. I mean, Gruden, Carr, the team as a whole, Max Crosby, they ran their mouths after the game. They did what they did behaviorally after the game, driving around the stadium like that. This team isn't going to forget it, and I know I'm sure not anytime soon. So I hope you're right. I'd love to see a 20-plus point blowout, and I think it's definitely a possibility.
I think so too. And we'll have an episode for you guys breaking that game down as well. All the needs and no's to the Raiders game. Unfortunately, we're on the bye week. Just some quick Chiefs news before we get off here. McCole Hardman has been placed on the COVID list. A little worrisome there. I'm not sure if he's been diagnosed with it or tested positive for it, or if it's contact tracing that he's been around someone. But we'll get to the bottom of that and bring that to you guys here in just a few days. We record our next episode. But Marcus, you got anything to add before we get off here real quick?
Another thing that's kind of exciting because we have noted offensive line struggles at times. Martinez Rankin was activated.
Yes, sir.
Off of what was he on, the PUP? Physically unable to perform? Is that what it was, or IR?
I think it was IR for a while.
Okay, yeah.
Jerry Sneed's on his way back too, hopefully after the bye.
I think Rankin's the best guard we have on roster when healthy. So I'm interested to see if he can get healthy.
I like Osemele too, but
yeah. Osemele's what's his time frame looking like? Is he out for the year?
I think he might be out for the year. I know they put him on IR. I'm not sure if that's designation to return or just
and
season-ending IR. I'm not sure.
We did lose Taco Charlton for the year. That's another thing. Kind of sucks. He has a fracture, I believe, in his lower right leg.
Yeah.
So he's going to be done for the season.
Okafor's coming back. Like I said, L'Jarius Sneed's coming back. He did some limited stuff last week. Haven't pulled him off the IR yet, but they can do that at any time. Sammy Watkins will be back after the bye week as well. So we're getting healthy. We're taking the bye week to get healthy, and that's what we need. We made it this far, only losing one game to a fluke. So, I'm happy that we're getting healthy and, getting ready for the big push into the playoffs. But
I really look to maybe see Veach pick up the phone and call a guy like Terrell Suggs that's still out there and available for defensive end depth because he knows the scheme.
We definitely need some depth.
If they need it. They played Chris Jones at defensive end quite a bit after Taco got hurt. And sad for him, he only played, I think, 1 snap, and he got hurt on the 1 snap that he played, which that's just bad luck. But I don't know. Best wishes to him. Hopefully he can get another opportunity because I think he was only on a 1-year deal in Kansas City. But he showed flashes. I think he's got what it takes to be a successful player. So
for sure.
We'll see how that goes, but I'm looking forward to it after this bye week and just get through it. Focus on fantasy football.
I don't even want to talk about fantasy football. Not with you.
Understandable.
Anyways, guys, that does it for us here on the KC Tailgater Show. We've got a new nosebleed seats coming out. Not this week due to the bye, but we have one next week coming out. So please be on the lookout for that. We'll have another episode drop here on the KC Tailgater Show before that. So stick around. Stay tuned. We hope you guys like this YouTube switch. We're kind of getting the hang of it. So if you see a few technical glitches or anything like that, that's why. But, stick around. Stay tuned. We got lots more to bring to you guys. So I'm Jordan Anderson. With me, as always, my buddy Marcus Baker. We will see you guys next time.
2, 1, go! Welcome to the Red Kingdom. Yeah. Red Kingdom. Welcome to the Red Kingdom. Yeah. Red Kingdom. Welcome to the place where we run it.
place really haunted by number 58 is DT the Great, and we flaunt it, hate and we shun it. No competition, the opposition fake. I don't think they really want it. Loud is the recipe, loud sitting next to me, no doubt.